Hello BookTube. For this Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the Faking It tag. This tag was created by Heather Gregg, and I'll leave a link to her original video in the show notes down below. This tag is inspired by a British program that Heather describes in the intro to her video. I'm not familiar with it, so can't comment too much on it. Anyway, so here are the prompts. Imposter Syndrome. An average person gains power. For this prompt, I'm going to go with Midoriya from My Hero Academia. He begins the series as a mundane human who, over the course of this first volume, gains superpowers and is admitted to a high school for superhumans who wish to become superheroes. This is a wonderful manga series that looks at superheroes. So, I've only read one volume of it, but I've enjoyed it so far. Prompt number 2. Becoming. A change in career sparks a story. For this, I'm going to go with a work of biography. The Secret History of Wonder Woman by Joe Lepore. This is a biography of, I am blanking on his name right now. Oh, William Moulton Marston, who created Wonder Woman. Before he became a comic book writer, he was a professor of psychology who bounced around various universities in the United States. And so obviously his claim to fame is that he created Wonder Woman. He also claims to have invented a version of the polygraph test, which is a bit disputed. Marston was a bit of maybe a fraud in some ways, but yeah, so definitely this is a really good biography of him and history of Wonder Woman. Rebranding. A person or institution changes dramatically. For this, I'm going to go with The City of Lost Fortunes by Bryan Camp. This is a contemporary or urban fantasy novel set in post-Katrina New Orleans, in which the main character, Jude de Buisson, is a demigod. He is the son of a god who has the ability to find lost items. After Katrina, his powers have gone haywire, and he's absented himself from the New Orleanian magical community. He is dragged back into that community because he's been invited to a poker game by the fortune god of New Orleans. Jude plays against a number of full-fledged gods and vampire and angel. And sorry about that, if you heard that. And he basically seems to lose. But over the course of the novel, after the death of the fortune god, gradually the magical status quo of New Orleans changes radically to where nothing that was at the beginning of the novel remains the same. One of the most powerful, the fortune god and the magician of New Orleans are different people. One of the major power brokers in the city is gone. It's just a completely different New Orleans. And New Orleans itself is radically transformed at the end of this novel, or on the road to being transformed. It's really good book. Next prompt. Cover. A book bought because of its cover. For this, I'm going to go with New Lefts, The Making of a Radical Tradition by Terence Renaud. Just look at that cover. And it's also very interesting. I'm also was interested in it because I'm interested in the political tradition of the left, and quite looking forward to eventually getting around to this one. Prompt number 5, stories and music. Book with music as main theme background. So, let me check real quick. Yeah. So the following prompt really could work for this prompt too, but I'm going to go a bit out of the box here. And I'm going to go with Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. This is in the first volume of an epic fantasy. Currently it's a duology, probably will be at least a trilogy, about a, it's basically your standard fantasy kitchen sink. In this book, a band of mercenaries reforms after the daughter of the front man of this mercenary band joins a band herself and journeys to a distant city to defend it against an incoming horde of monsters. Now, if you caught my use of the word frontman, it's intentional, because the conceit of Kings of the Wyld is that the mercenary bands of this world are very much akin to and are inspired by the rock musician, well, the music of the popular music of the 20th century. So there are little hints here and there. It's heavily inspired by music. So that's why I picked it. Okay, prompt number 6. Spectacles. Book set in the entertainment industry. Now this one could have also covered, and more obviously covered, the last prompt as well, and that is Me by Elton John. This is Elton John's autobiography, and he was and is a world famous musician, one of the greatest musicians of the 20th century. And this is a fantastic autobiography, just absolutely fantastic. Prompt number 7, Laughter Lines, media in which comedy humor features. Now, this prompt was a bit difficult for me to figure out because I don't have anything that is really traditionally humorous. But I decided to go maybe a bit out of the box and go for a work of history that I found to be just absolutely a hoot to read. And that was, of course, my beloved Big Wonderful Thing, A History of Texas by Stephen Harrigan. This is history as it should be done. It is, I love this book so much. Prompt number 8, fashion. Book, film set in fashion world. Now, again, I don't have any books about or set in the world of fashion. I would love to get a history of fashion, and I'm actually rather interested in fashion. But anyway, but I decided to go for a manga series, and really the mangaka who created the series. Because their work is so fashionable, and that is Clamp. This is the first volume of one of their series, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles. Clamp, they are a mangaka collective, which is a group of manga creators who work together and have worked together for well over 30 years now. They are noted for being just highly fashionable in their and fashion conscious in their character designs and costuming. Like, here's Yuko. Let's go at the characters. Well, she's more a character in another one of their series. This is a big crossover one. Let's see, and here's some examples. And the thing about fashion in Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle is that with every arc, the entire main cast changes outfits. So they had a blast creating costuming for that one. Okay. Prompt number 9, drugs, pharma or addiction. For this, I'm going to go with Empires of Vice, The Rise of Opium Prohibition Across Southeast Asia by Diana S. Kim. This is a book about drugs and drug enforcement in Southeast Asia during the colonial period. So matches the prompt. And finally, prompt number 10, Ever Youthful, Story from Viewpoint of a Young Person. So for this, I'm going to go with another manga series, and that is Totally Hanako-kun by AidaIro. The Totally Hanako-kun is about an incredibly haunted school in Japan. And one of the main characters is a young student she's a student at the school named Nene, who is told one day that if she goes to a specific toilet stall and performs a certain ritual, she will be able to summon the spirit of the toilet-bound Hanako-san, who will then grant her wish. She goes to the stall, she performs the ritual, and she summons the spirit known as the toilet-bound Hanako-san. Except instead of the traditional spirit from the stories, that is a young woman, the spirit in this case is a young boy, Amane, the character on the cover. And he works to grant Nene's wish. It does not go how she hopes, and Amane rescues her from the consequences of her wish. And in exchange, Nene basically becomes Amane's assistant, initially by cleaning the toilet stall that he haunts, and later by aiding him in his duties regulating the relationships between the mortals of the school and the supernaturals that live at the school. There are 7 mysteries, 7 major hauntings at the school, of which Amane is the 7th, and therefore he has a authority over the other 6, as well as the other supernaturals at the school. Joining Amane and Nene is Ko. He's a young trainee exorcist who initially tries to exorcise Amane, but later becomes friends with Amane and Nene and joins them in their adventures, regulating the supernaturals. Something or other is making the supernaturals at the school more malicious, more malevolent, more violent. And it's up to Amane, Nene, and Ko to figure out what's going on, to stop the supernaturals, and to restore the proper balance and relationships. Eventually, the people who are manipulating the rumors, the stories about the supernaturals that have an influence on their actions is revealed. And I'll talk a bit more about this on Friday when I do weekly reads. But anyway, so yeah, the main characters in this series and will likely be for the entire breadth of the series are in their about 14, 15-ish range. So yeah, I think that matches the prompt. So that was the faking it tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tags, and I will see you sometime later this week. So until then, BookTube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.